Hello, and welcome to RPL Week 2. This game is going to be 5-5-5 versus GxK. I am your caster contractor, here with my co-caster, Squid Chilling.
Hello, I am a squid.
Can you hear me today? Apparently that didn't work last time I tried to do this.
It's benefit that they couldn't hear you, they just didn't know it at the time.
Oh, okay. So we have some pretty standard bands: Azir, Gangplank, and Camille, all solid champions. Bard seems more of a troll band, but
I hope that is a targeted man.
so we shall see. They all kind of mixed up their bands and just seem to take the best champion away from 3 people on each of the enemy team. So just bring down the team as a whole rather than individual target bands. Turn Shilling up? Don't ever ask me to turn Shilling up again. Why do people always ask me to turn you up? You're way too loud on my screen.
Because other people have not been inoculated against me yet. Too loudly as your body's natural defense system. It's just trying to convince you to run away from me.
Yeah. Is that better? Can you guys hear Squid Chilling better now? Let's see. We got an Orianna versus Shen Kaisa. Kaisa's very, very strong, but Xayah is no slouch herself, so it's going to be a very competitive bottom lane.
Pick up the Rakan as well. Very solid support in general, but especially with Xayah.
Blind picking Yasuo is a little aggressive, though. We'll have to see how that one plays out.
Possible with the Shen pick that they intend to send Yasuo mid against Orianna.
Oh, yeah, it is against Orianna in this matchup. Oh, never mind. It'll be a Tahm Kench. Locked in by SPLF. Yeah, Yasuo and Orianna is actually worse than Blind Pick, by the way. That's a terrible matchup.
With what you know. Even if it's...
I guess most Oriannas aren't coordinated enough to catch the Yasuo, but as far... if they're both good, Yasuo loses to Orianna, so...
Not sure why there'd be a Tristana ban when the AD carry's already been picked up.
Maybe they play Tristana mid. Maybe the boosted Moose is an avid Tristana mid player. We know nothing, we pretend to know nothing. We just are here to scream stuff.
Listen, I didn't even know that these teams were playing until like 15
Yeah,
minutes ago.
TSM
so.
Batman told us at 5:50 our time, which is 14 minutes ago. He said, hey, you have to cast in 10 minutes? Like, he did tell us like 2 days ago we were going to cast today. But he told us 10 minutes ago that it was now. I was assuming 2 hours from now.
So I guess what we're saying is, God damn it, TSM Batman.
Yep, pretty much.
Blame him.
You know, I feel like we used to cover Champion Select more, and then once people couldn't hear me, I just like said, fuck it, I don't want it anymore.
Out, which is, I'm sure, going to make this even better.
That being said, the Gragas pickup is going to get them their jungler. Looks like they're saving their mid laner for last pick for some reason. Despite already having the counter, I guess they're just trying to get the Gragas before Triple Nickel can pick it up.
See, they've still got a top laner and a jungler left, and they've got some flexibility with Orianna. They really just need a tank somewhere, but otherwise...
Oh, there's one.
Follow up.
I'm actually a little concerned about the draft from GxK here. Kaisa is not a hyper carry. Kaisa does a lot of damage, but to very, very close targets. Not very good for protect the AD carry type comps, or AD carry doing all the damage comps, because with Tahm Kench, Gragas, and Shen, they're going to have to pick a mid laner that deals a lot of damage to make this composition work out for them.
And they're going to need to be able to protect really well because they've got both Warwick and Kled to deal with, and Orianna has a lot of opportunities as well if the AD carry's even slightly out of position. Comp with Tahm Kench is pretty good, but they have to really be focused on
Gragas is
that.
mid.
Gragas is a much better option against Orianna, but
okay. I was worried for a second he wasn't going to change. And that was going to be a Rek'Sai mid. Yeah, okay, Rek'Sai does a little bit more damage than Jungle Gragas does, so I like their comp a lot better now. I think that fixed some of the issues I was seeing with that. The main issue I still have with it is that, like I said, Kai'Sa's the primary damage dealer on the team, and they have a beefy 4 other champions, so picking the losing lane with the Tahm Kench into Xayah Rakan is going to be really, really painful for them. They're going to have to make something happen bot with the Shen Rek'Sai to pull that bottom lane out of the poor state it'll be in otherwise.
I'm a bit concerned by GxK. They don't have a very good... I think Xayah Rakan both win early and win late against Kai'Sa and Tahm Kench.
Yes, they do. But Kai'Sa will have a lot less problems tearing through Kled and Warwick than Xayah will Shen and Rek'Sai.
But I still think Kled and Warwick are threats. Just if Warwick can get an ult onto Kai'Sa, that more or less will force Tahm Kench to devour her. Otherwise, Kai'Sa's just going to go down, and if you're using it then, deal with anything of Orianna or Xayah's ability to lock people down and get a bunch of damage out quickly.
Yeah, just based off the drafts, it seems like 555 has a really straightforward, easy way to win the game. And GxK is going to have to come up with interesting ways to play around the Shen to pull this one out, in my opinion.
And I think they're going to have... Because I don't think they have a stellar early game, but I think that's where they'd have the strongest team come against 555. It go late. Xayah, Orianna, and Warwick are all just better late game than their opposed. I think Kled would also scale better than Shen.
Yep. So, interesting dynamics we have here where all 3 lanes from 555 win and all 3 late games from 555 win. That's impressive that they picked an entire mid-game team. So, we know what their plan is, win in the mid-game.
If you can win in the mid-game, it's a good strategy.
Double exhaust in the bot lane is not something we've seen in a lot of the other games we were casting. There's a lot more Flash Ignite versus Flash Exhaust, so hopefully that tames things down a little bit.
I don't think it'd be right for either of them to bring Ignite in this.
I think Rakan could get away with it.
They could, but I still think Xayah Rakan would be a stronger lane just abusing her and pushing Kai'Sa and Tahm Kench out of lane. We kill them.
Yeah, and having the safety from Rek'Sai ganks with exhaust makes them able to play more aggressively as well. We are 10 seconds from loading into this game. I don't know. I'm just, usually when I look at these drafts, I say, this is the early game, this is the late game, this is the team fight, this is the split push. They just have the same plan. Both teams are trying to do the exact same thing. They're trying to survive the lane, rotate with their top laner, with Kled and Shen having semi-global ult to global ult, and then Deathball 5v5. And I think 555s is just a better comp in every aspect. I don't think there's a single thing that I liked about GxK's comp more, other than the fact that they're playing Kai'Sa, but I don't think Kai'Sa's better for the composition. So So we'll have to see
I
if...
do like Warlord Shen as a skin.
Yeah, they got Warlord Shen. They got Warlord Shen. GxK wins the early game skirm super hard. I don't know. I don't know that that's true. Warwick wins almost every 1v1 in the jungle. Rat Gragas. I bet they could win that 2v2. They could 2v1 like focus Orianna and Warwick would just have to like walk away or something. I don't think they win hard. I think it's fairly close. I think Warwick beats Rexa in a 1v1 and Orianna beats Gragas in a 1v1. I think their 2v2s are right from GxK's side, but I think the individual 1v1s are terrible.
Another note that will be important when it comes time for fighting. You press the attacks for 5-5-5. They've got them on all of their carries.
Red team's going to check into the Rakan. Gonna get hit by the Shen taunt, but gonna have a safe W over the wall, and no one deems it worthy to flash. I think Kaisa could have killed him, but you never know what's over the wall, so gotta play it safe. Rakan is actually walking into the enemy jungle. He's very, very, very out of position. He must be trying to go for an execute, probably gonna W over another wall and go for the execute in a minute. This could be a time where they could go for the kill. He's actually recalling.
For the recall.
Rek'Sai didn't really need the flash, but it did secure the kill. Xayah is going to pick up first blood, not go spend the money though, so... Or not Xayah, Kaisa is going to pick up the first blood, and that should be really helpful, but he didn't spend the money, so they're not going to have any assistance in laning phase due to it. And Rek'Sai's flash is down now as well.
To go for the execute by Rakan. I think he should have just kept walking into mid lane where his team already was.
Well, that, and if he went for the execute, he probably would have gotten it, or at least burned Kaisa's flash. He just went for the recall, which, as there were 4 people chasing him, they're going to find him. Kled going super aggressive on a Shen, actually losing it on the trade a bit because of the minion aggro that he drew. Oh, I should actually... You know what? I am going to open the scoreboard. One day I'll remember the things I'm supposed to do. Rakan went a little bit too deep, and actually Xayah was forced to heal him. The level 2 was acquired early by the red team, and pretty punished for Rakan being too far out of position.
Get back here.
I'm curious about the decision to go Spell Thieves on Rakan over Coin.
You'd think if you were going Spell Thieves, you would have gone the Ignite route. Yeah, Rakan actually doesn't have the auto range to fight Tahm Kench like other ranged champions do, so he needs to play that a little safer.
I could see potentially the thought being that Gleaming Quill is a pretty good combined poke and heal option, but if he was going to do that, he should have gotten that before level 3.
Yes, for sure. It made us watch bot lane, so we actually missed the gank in mid. The exhaust is going to come down onto both 80 carries. They're focusing Tahm Kench. They're getting him very low, but the Devourer is almost up. The heal already being burnt means that Kai'Sa's going to pick up a second kill and force out the flash from Xayah, but he went a little bit too deep trying to pick up that kill under the tower, and Warwick's going to pick up another kill in the bottom lane. Went straight from mid to bot lane. It's going to be 2-2 overall, with first blood going over... Or, not first blood. With the first kill going over to Warwick in mid. And both kills on the red side going to Kaisa.
Interesting decision by Warwick in that mid kill. He did use his flash to make sure he got onto Gragas and killed him.
Yeah, I thought Gragas was going a little aggressive, like past the minions under Orianna. I was surprised by that, but... I did not see the Warwick as we were watching bot lane at the time.
As it stands currently, Tom Kench has a flash available, and that's the only sum up in bot.
I expect some repeat
There-
action down there.
Right, no sums have been burned mid, but both flashes are down by the junglers.
Kled already got up an early recall, so he's down a tiny bit in CS, but he's going to make it up in that minion wave, and Shen is going to have to recall soon or lose out on dueling potential. He does have a slight XP lead due to it. Rek'Sai is very squishy. He's actually going to tunnel in onto Orianna. With Warwick's there, Warwick can follow him with the Q, and he's going to get the fear off onto the Gragas as well, picking up the first kill onto the Rek'Sai. But looks like Gragas is going to be able to get out of there. Kled is not giving up the fight with Shen, though. He got him to about half HP in one engage. It's a little bit makes things a little bit riskier for Shen if he stays around, and since Kled's close to hitting 6.
Right. The other problem is that Kled's level 6 is a much better level 6 than Shen's in terms of 1v1s.
However, he is about to demount, which will make him unable to use that ultimate, providing a little bit of extra safety for Shen. A nice bit of harass coming out from Xayah Rakan. They're getting Tahm Kench pretty low, but Rakan is actually dropped very, very low. However, with the full health Xayah, they're not able to pursue any further onto that kill. A nice trade overall from 555's bottom lane. Kled is going under the tower to fight the Shen, but with Rek'Sai coming to ward off Warwick's gank, it looks like nothing more will come of that situation. Due to that pressure top when they saw Warwick, they were able to pick up that pink ward in Tri-Brush. Fantastic for GxK.
Another recall before Shen's first one.
I'm assuming he's going to recall after this wave. Hopefully.
He's already been losing these trades. He's going to just be even further behind if he doesn't recall now.
Gragas lands an ult into a flash ignite actually onto the Orianna. He would have dropped to the tower, but Warwick is going to take that kill to add a little bit more gold to his team, but taking away a tiny bit from his mid laner. He's going through 6 minions to chase down that Rek'Sai. The Rek'Sai is going to go back on him underneath the tower, and both of the semi-global ults from top lane are going to come through, and the taunt's going to land onto the Kled, but he's going to be just fine walking out of there, not even having to demount, and everyone makes it out alive except for the 2 mid laners. Oh my goodness, Tahm Kench walked under tower and got rooted into the combo by Rakan, and Rakan was not even low. An exhaust comes out, a very early exhaust comes out onto Kai'Sa from the Rakan. The Rakan is down extremely low. It is going to drop in the end, but hopefully for his sake, Xayah is going to be able to pick up the kill, but Kai'Sa was able to hit level 6 and get the shield, and Xayah is completely out of mana. The double kill is going to barely go over to Kai'Sa due to the level up from Rakan's death. An overextension from the bottom lane of 555. It's going to net 2 kills gifted back to GxK.
Needed to put down a ward in that brush as he was dying. Xayah lost an auto attack that would have won the fight. Kai'Sa was in a brush they did not have vision of at the time.
Also made extra riskier by the fact that Kai'Sa's heal was almost back available, so there was, unless they had a very good timer on that, they might have been heal baited by that. Red team is trying to sneak the dragon.
12.
Go ahead.
So currently it's a 1,200 gold lead for red side's AD carry. They otherwise are down about 400 gold in mid lane, in top lane, but down 700 in the jungle. 100 gold lead for blue side, but they are much further behind in bot.
Yeah, but the Ocean Dragon going over to GxK is going to help them out a lot. Actually, Kled almost gets dropped in the top lane, but Orianna is able to help catch out the Gragas in the big 4v4 team fight. And all 3 kills are going to go down just to them completely disrespecting and Rek'Sai completely disengaging. I wonder if they thought Shen would be able to help them in that fight. I don't know, but that was not even remotely close. They just all got decimated by Xayah and Oriana's ultimates.
Beautiful ult by Oriana, especially because Tahm Kench devoured Kai'Sa to save her from calling the feathers, but in the process, both of them got brought back by Oriana's ult. They're gonna get them the first tower.
3 kills in first tower means that gold leads you're talking about that were fairly close and comparable depending on what lane you're looking at is now a 3,000 gold lead, ballooning for 555.
Behind in bot lane, which does give some opportunity
What?
GxK if they can hold out. They've currently got about a 400 gold lead there, but in the other lanes, it's now a 1,400 gold lead for Oriana, a 300 gold lead for Kled, actually, about 1,000 gold lead for Warwick.
And during that last fight, both top laners were dropped extremely low. Actually, Shen walks through Kled, allowing him to get his E off again, but with no flash and no help coming, that's going to be a free kill given over to Shen in the top lane. And Tahm Kench roamed on to Oriana without even using Gragas' ultimate. I guess Tahm Kench just ulted behind Oriana to pick up that kill and burned her flash as well. So, nice 2 kills coming back in for GxK. It must have been that Gromp steal Tahm Kench had gave him the confidence he needed to make that mid play.
They still are behind pretty substantially in gold. They have a bit of a gold lead in top lane, but that's out of a gold lead. It's not going to be much. They're still down 1,000 gold in mid and 1,000 gold in the jungle.
And the 402 Warwick is going to be hard to deal with the limited damage capabilities of GxK.
Because Warwick's the press, if it gets onto Kai'Sa, even if they use Devour by Tahm Kench to get her out of there, which they won't have while she is inside of Tahm Kench, and that can be really dangerous for them to not have.
They need Kai'Sa DPSing the entire fight to be able to rip through the tanks of 555.
Not Kled to be able to get too much damage off, because if he can get all 4 of his violent tendency attacks, that's not only a free press the attack proc, that's also the large bonus damage from violent tendencies.
Rakan is not afraid of Tahm Kench. He's going to get taken 1 hit away from being able to devour, but not quite. Rek'Sai's going to be able to jump onto the Oriana, followed by the Shen taunt, but the support from the blue team is there in time, and it looks like they're going to be going on. The Shen ult comes out on the Rek'Sai, but unfortunately, the Shen is going to get taken down on the backside of the fight. The Rek'Sai is going to make it out at about half HP, being chased down by Kled. The exhaust comes through, but the rope has landed, and Rek'Sai is going to be dropped as well. And now Tahm Kench is stranded with Warwick and Kled there. There's almost certainly no escape for him as he has no flash, and the amount of CC coming in is going to be too high. He's going to Zhonya's actually on like 5 HP. It's going to stall a little bit longer for Gragas to get his ult off, but Xayah is actually taking a 1v1 against Kai'Sa right here. He misses everything, but still barely manages to survive due to Triumph in the end. That's very lucky for Mutant. I'm not going to say well played, but lucky. And Unagi ends up flashing out of that fight to try to save his team a little bit. Overall, a fantastic map-wide fight for the blue team.
Still down in gold in bot lane, but they've got gold leads everywhere else, and that is a 6-0 Warwick. Huge threat coming out of him.
Something I find a bit interesting is Kai'Sa actually went 80 AD and then went Berserker's Greaves and a dagger. So he doesn't have either of his abilities upgraded yet. Most people go pickaxe after the Death Stance before picking up the attack speed to try to get around that, but I'm assuming he already had his Berserker's Greaves and only had 500, 600 gold and couldn't afford his pickaxe. Warwick, did Warwick actually take that blue buff? That's what I thought I saw. Actually, an engage is going to come out onto the Xayah. Xayah's ultimate's still down, and he doesn't respect them at all. He doesn't flash away because he thinks he has Rakan in the back backing him up, but the Shen ult, or the Warwick ult is going to land onto the Kai'Sa, and he's going to be dropped very, very low, taken down by Orianna in the end. 2 kills going over, but Kled goes too aggressive on to Shen and Rek'Sai, and the pair will pick him up there. Red team setting up the dragon, blue team setting up the top tower. It looks like it's going to be a trade of objectives, but an overall gold lead snowballing even further for 555 is going to be painful for GxK, being as they were the early mid-game team.
Kled there almost got out with his flash, but failed to get over the wall with it. Lost them. It looks like they're also going to pick up the Rift Herald.
So 2 objectives to 1 going to be going to the blue team unless they get found out. There is a ward on it, so the red team might be able to rotate in time.
Problem the red team's going to have is there is good vision control by blue leading up to the Rift Herald.
So Xayah is not going to face check. The Orianna ult's going to land. Actually, the Rakan is going to land a 4-man W after the ultimate and live on a sliver of health. Xayah's going to be able to pick up the Rek'Sai, but Orianna's going back in with no mana. Kled's going around the backside, and the Protobelt ult from Gragas is going to take down Rakan, and he's going to be chasing down the Orianna, dropping her extremely low. But Kled is too far in the front line alone, and he's going to be able to be dropped as well by Kai'Sa. Oh, Orianna actually picked up the Gragas. I'm assuming Xayah went over and helped him. No, actually he didn't.
No, Xayah was fighting the...
I could not tell you how Orianna got all that mana back to be able to win that fight. But nice job to him. Do you know what the numbers were for that fight in the end? I have no idea. 1 for 1? 2 for 2? I think Warwick and Kled died. No, Rakan died. Rakan and Kled died.
2. Turns out Orianna had used her barrier and picked up the kill with Ignite and Clockwork Wind-Up.
He doesn't have Ignite.
Oh, there was an Ignite on Gragas.
Dude, no one on their team has Ignite. I don't know where that came from. Maybe he had red buff and that was the animation you were looking at?
That would make more sense, yes.
Interestingly, Orianna does not even have small boots yet. We'll see if he's just trying to buy the Ludens and hope that's enough move speed.
So ultimately, Herald ends pretty inconclusively. However, for gold, the advantage in bot lane for GxK, they're up about 1,400 there. Otherwise, they are not doing well. 1,900 in the jungle and down almost 2,000 in mid lane. About even in top lane, now a slight gold lead for Kled. Curious, these supports are...
Orianna missed the shockwave. Kai'Sa used her E to evade it, and Kai'Sa's going to drop Orianna very, very low. A flash from Gragas is going to be able to pick up the... Not a flash from Gragas. Who flashed? Somebody flashed. Rek'Sai. But Gragas is going to pick up the kill in the end. Rakan is a little bit overextended, but with the E range being buffed, was able to jump to Warwick. Going to be taken down in the end by a Rek'Sai ultimate. Warwick tried to ult in onto the Kai'Sa, but Shen ult is going to be able to bring that back, as well as the exhaust. Shen's going to teleport up to stop Kled's split push, and Kled got almost no tower damage for 2 kills for the red team. And some mid lane pressure, as well as Rift Herald pressure. Gragas still has ultimate. He's looking for something, but Xayah's getting him very, very low. I'm assuming, yep, Xayah was able to use the ultimate to dodge out of the Gragas ultimate, but Kled ult was not aimed correctly to help pick up these kills. Kled is going to miss everything, and red team is going to make it out safely with picking up the Rift.
Herald as a result. They are even in gold right now, overall.
A very close game between these two teams.
It's almost entirely coming out of that bot lane. It's a 2,000 gold lead there for GxK. They are otherwise behind in both jungle and mid, and about even in top.
But you can see how Xayah was tearing through people. Xayah has very low CS. He's very far behind of Kai'Sa. 2,000 gold, and everyone on red team, look at their builds. Sunfire, Ninja Tabby building into a Randuin's with a Cinderhulk. Ninja Tabby. And then the bot lane has Warden's Mail and Glacial Shroud, so a ton of armor coming out of the red side.
Some of that might be from Warwick's threat as well. He much of a physical damage threat, but he was ahead early, and there was a reason to try to survive against him.
I feel like Oriana hasn't bought anything since last time I talked about her build, and she doesn't have a ton of gold, so I'm a little confused by that. Maybe she's gotten like no last hits. I don't think I've seen her last hitting at all. There's that one wave in mid I think Kled got most of. But I feel like Oriana hasn't gotten almost any gold in the last 5 minutes. Kai'Sa's going to be chasing down under the Kled, but Kled ult is going to get him out safely.
If Herald's used in bot lane, they're taking that turret pretty easily.
And the two-man pressure is not amounting to too much as Warwick doesn't feel comfortable hitting the tower against Shen's taunt. Shen's taunt is actually going to land on Oriana. He's going to drop it to about half HP, but now he's left the tower, and he got hit by both of the enemy's ultimates. He even burned Flash, and Oriana flashed to secure the kill. Probably unnecessary, but good secure nonetheless. A couple of ultimates expended bot lane to get everybody out safely, but it's going to be a pretty free escape there. It looked like Gragas was going onto Oriana, but he actually changed his mind and decided to kill Warwick instead. Oriana's doing a decent job of dodging and juking, but her E is just coming back up, and she's going to barely pick up the kill onto the Gragas. Rakan's going to go in and get a nice engage onto the entire red team, but with Kled already being dropped, Xayah is the only one left to hit anybody. He's got Rek'Sai super low and stunned rooted up under tower, but the Tahm Kench is going to be able to devour him at the last second. And Xayah almost picks up all 3 kills, but each one of them living with 1 auto from death at the end of the death stance.
Oriana's not going to go for it.
No, she didn't waste her flash in the top lane. That was a double kill.
8 devour by Tahm Kench to save his team there.
Not positive if the heal from Rek'Sai would have saved him, but it's close.
That Xayah had a triumph and had Rek'Sai dropped, that could have easily been Xayah getting a triple.
Just anything going slightly better for the blue team, and they would have completely turned it on. A very close fight overall. Do you save the streams? I think so. I think all the videos are saved automatically. That's how mine is set up, and I copied their official RCGG settings. So I'm assuming theirs is like that too, since I've watched videos of theirs in the past. Kled ult's going to be coming in out of the Shen. The Shen is surrounded, but with only the 2 people, they don't have a ton of damage to get on him. All of their CC is down. He could ult away, but it looks like Tahm Kench is going to expend his ult instead to save his teammate. But Rakan actually W's in and has to burn her ultimate and to be able to make it a range of her team to use her E, but because her team had to wait around, that means that they all got engaged on, and everyone on blue team is dying from Rakan massively overextending. The only one that's made it out is Kled, but it looks like they are going to decide to chase him in the end. Kai'Sa's going to get the triple kill. The Warwick ult is going to be cancelled by the Tahm Kench Devour. Shen barely escaping, but the Warwick is going to be taken down for the quadra kill. This might be the Penta. It is going to be the Penta over the Kai'Sa. We said that they relied heavily on Kai'Sa to deal the damage, and Kai'Sa dealt that damage. Fantastic job in the red team. That was without Gragas even there. It was a 4v5, which sounds bad, but almost the entire fight was fought with red team at a numbers advantage at every point in the fight. Blue team was in a lot of disarray there, and that helped red team out a lot. Kai'Sa destroys Baron. Kai'Sa destroys Baron regardless, but this Kai'Sa specifically strong. Game volume quiet? Alright, I'll turn it up.
Currently, Kai'Sa has an almost 3,000 gold lead over anyone else in the game. An almost 1,000 gold lead on the Xayah specifically. That is a massive lead for Kai'Sa. We said earlier that they have the mid-game look to be using it. They've got to close out now, though, with this Baron, or it's getting into the late game where they start falling off.
I think they have a bit of time yet. I think they have 5-10 minutes. They just have such a large gold lead that the late game happens a lot later in the game than it does if it's a tied game in the mid game.
Problem is they have a large gold lead, but it's all on the Kai'Sa. They are actually behind still in top and jungle, and they barely have in jungle and mid, and they've barely got a gold lead in top. They've got to make sure that the jungler can't get ahead of theirs, while they've still got that huge lead on Kai'Sa.
Kai'Sa's positioning is going to be key here. Warwick ult's actually going to land onto the Kai'Sa, followed by a flash Rakan engage, and Kai'Sa goes down immediately to the coordination from the blue team. Fantastic job, and it's going to be a double kill going over to Xayah. Shen was unable to ultimate because he was going aggressive onto the Kled. Looks like Kled is going to be able to remount, probably. He does end up remounting, but he's very, very low. He has his ultimate up, but he's going to have to use it before he goes back demounted. He is going to be able to escape in the end. A nice distraction from Kled. I'm assuming he hard engaged to force Shen to not ult to the other side, and that's why he lost that fight. Kled actually...
This is where the danger gold comes from, because it's all on Kai'Sa. If she drops like she did there to a combined Warwick ult into Rakan ult, very much further behind than blue team would be if Xayah were eliminated.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Tahm Kench. He can't eat people if he's CC'd, and Rakan CC's both members. So Tahm Kench has to do a little bit better of a job of staying slightly further away from Kai'Sa so that he's able to eat him while still being close enough to eat him should Warwick engage. It's a very difficult positioning for the Tahm Kench. If he can pull it off, Kai'Sa can carry this game, but as you saw in the last fight, it is a horrible fight if Kai'Sa gets engaged on.
The other problem is, when Kai'Sa, even if he uses it to get Kai'Sa out of the Warwick ult, that's time where Kai'Sa isn't hitting anyone, and Xayah can still do a lot of damage, even with how far behind she is.
That is why I permanently ban Xayah in every game I play. She's just very, very strong, even if she's not doing well. But, alas, I believe Kai'Sa has all three of her abilities upgraded now.
Barely hitting it on the AP, but she's got 105. That will give her the upgrade there. She's got 117 bonus AD.
Looks like they're going for a death rush, but they didn't clear the vision. So everyone on red team actually knows where they are, and they're just repositioning to jockey against what blue team is trying to set up. Looks like Dragon is where the two teams want to fight. It's up in 25 seconds.
This is where red side's vision advantage is important. They've got the pink down on Dragon, which has stopped blue from being able to figure out where they're at.
Yeah, as well as the slow push they had going in the top lane is going to prevent Kled from being here at the start of the fight. He has teleport available to him, but he's going to be forced to use it if he wants to get in on this fight. It looks like blue team moving forward and clearing out the vision is going to be enough to make red team back up for a tiny bit. A nice Shen flash taunt is going to be followed up by everyone on blue team just exploding. Warwick does get the ult down onto the Kai'Sa, but there's no one here. Kled is just now getting here to this fight, and nice flash from Kled is going to be able to pick up the kill onto the Tahm Kench, but he's just fighting two tanks, and he can't drop them before someone else comes back to kill him. Actually, doesn't look like he could have beat them anyway. Did Gragas just flash ult afterwards?
They've got... It does appear so. Interesting choice of summoner use.
Yeah, very interesting. Actually, all 5 flashes expended by the red team for only 3 of the blue team, but again, just another fight where the blue team is just not on the same page. Kled wasn't there until 2 members of his team were already dead.
And they've got the mid-game lead, and they are definitely making use of it.
The Knight's Vow picked up by Tahm Kench is going to make it a lot harder to insta-burst the Kai'Sa like they did in that previous fight. Warwick's actually going to flash onto the Kai'Sa. He's going to get locked up by the other members of the team, but they just don't have everything up that they need to be able to get onto Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's walking forward when she knows 4 people are coming because the ultimate's actually available from Shen still because they didn't need it in the last fight. Kai'Sa's just decimating the entire team, but the W snipe comes in and doesn't quite pick up the kill on Rakan, but another 3 kills just gets it over because they're too hungry and they're not ready. Rakan's ult wasn't up for 3 seconds when they engaged. A nice job from Kled is going to almost pick up the kill on Gragas, but Tahm Kench there just in the nick of time to save his friend. Rakan is not going to be able to hold up this push solo. He's going to have to hope the minions die, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do anything about it. All 4 members of Red Team, or 5 members of Red Team still there. I apologize. I thought Gragas recalled. And that looks like it's going to be the game. The double Ocean Drakes healing them back up. 36-23. GxK pulls out the victory. Fantastically played in the mid game. It was tied for the first 20 so minutes, and then they just exploded.
It was a stellar move by Kai'Sa. The difference here. The rest of their team, but that Kai'Sa just polished. Yeah, we thought at the beginning that GxK was going to have problems early in laning and then have problems late game. They just never let it get to late game, though, and that ended up being decisive.
Yeah, and they survived the early game. They were still tied afterwards. So, all in all, well played.
Yeah, you can look at these gold leads here. You can see just how decisive it was. Kai'Sa finishing with 21 kills, 15,000 gold. The next highest by anyone is Gragas, just under 13,000, and no member of the enemy team hitting 12,000. That's Kai'Sa with an over 6,000 gold lead.
That's over 7,000. That is a slaughter. Fantastic job from Sauce Captain.
Where they had their problem was Warwick just didn't use his... Warwick was 6-0 originally, and he just come with it.
We are in the lobby for the next game. Yep.
What they needed to do was have Warwick put a bit more pressure on, and they needed to play a bit... make that call for Rift Herald. The Rift Herald fight at more of a lead, and she just steamrolled with it.
I'm intrigued. I would like to know if hey, why did you place your bet, Shillian? Do you think that they're going to ban Kai'Sa this game, or do you think that they are going to use some other plan to take them down?
I think you have to ban Kai'Sa here. I think it would be a very bad call by them if they don't ban Kai'Sa. I would even I would bet a first ban Kai'Sa. That would be the call I would make. At 5, they cannot afford to let Kai'Sa that just gets such a steamroll like that.
Alright, so 1-0. The Galaxy Knights are up over Team 555. We're starting game 2. So far we have the Camille ban, which is the same as the last game.
We saw a ban here.
I mean, I feel like if you don't ban
within the first 3.
If you don't ban the champion the enemy team gets a pentakill with when their first pick, you're insane. Alright, Gangplank was the first ban coming out of the red side again. So I believe they filled it up with Azir and Bard. Maybe they'll throw out that Bard ban for a Kai'Sa ban.
Much better choice.
Yep, Camille and Ahri again. So far the exact same stuff has happened. I guess it's Xayah again. I really gotta stop saying Xayah when I mean Kai'Sa. Alright, it looks like...
They're actually gonna choose to ban out Tahm Kench.
It was a major issue for them in that last game, but I don't know if... I feel like a Janna could have done a similar job. So we'll see if...
I think there were times where Tahm Kench did get off a clutch Devour to save someone that they might be going for, but I still think... and a better ban over Tahm Kench. particularly because not only does Janna, as you said, there's the Kaisa ban.
All right. Well, they took away the bot lane. They decided 555 decided that Galaxy Knights' bot lane was the issue. However, that does mean that they left Azir available. That's going to be snatched up
Their
immediately.
Orianna got banned out. I don't know if you'd want to necessarily pick Orianna into Azir options, but Orianna is banned here. That is their from last game going out, and I think that's also a good call. I think Orianna was getting a lot of very good ultimates off, especially the one that helped them knock out Kaisa. Fight, they did well.
As well, they picked Shen away from TDC Cake Boss. So
But Skarner, it looks like they might be going for a similar get onto the enemy AD carry and burst them down.
well, that would make sense why you would get rid of Tom Kench if you're planning on picking Skarner.
That is add some context. I do think Tom Kench is an okay ban, so long as it's followed up with a Kaisa ban.
What I really want to see Skarner ult Azir and get Azir ulted at the same time. I love that interaction. It's beautiful. Please let it happen.
So that is, so far, nothing in bot lane picked up by either team.
So at least we know where the bans are going to be headed. And 555 will have the first pick on the bottom lane in the second rotation if they so choose to lock in a mid laner here. Oh, it will be the Lulu selected.
Going to pick up Lulu. Good choice. It fills a lot of the same. Fills a lot of that save the AD carry.
Yeah,
Not
Skarner ulted into the team. You don't want that person getting Lulu ulted and knocking up your entire team.
Oh, and I also think Lulu might be bringing more ability to save than Janna, even if Janna is better in a scenario. I think they're very similar picks, though, and surprised if if there is a reply picking up Janna.
Well, maybe they're thinking he'll try to, if they pick Janna, they'll just ult him away, and the same thing will happen with Skarner, which is hilarious.
And out.
Alright, so 4 AD carries banned. Presumably the top 2 AD carries from both teams. What? The Xayah and the Kaisa. So we'll see 2 new marksmen from the last game. It's always possible that Lulu's going mid as well. They're running a full-on protected AD carry comp. But it does not look like that's the case, as they'll pick up the Fizz and save their AD carry for last pick to make sure they have a good matchup.
I think Fizz is a good choice into Azir. Just from banned out Ahri and Orianna.
He meant no mid bans in the second phase since they already had a mid laner. The fact that they banned 2 marksmen when they had to pick that as well instead of banning mid laners is interesting.
That is, but I think mid laners you'd want to ban out for Azir. He's got a lot. Azir has he's weak into, and I don't think there's 2 that I'd be really banning out ahead of anything else. Fizz will be a good choice into Azir just because Fizz is strong early on and can before Azir gets his builds.
Plus he has 2 dash moves to get over the wall, so he's not left out to dry, but he is a melee into ranged matchup, so he always has that disadvantage.
So Lulu, Tristana against Varus, Nami, I think...
That's pretty close.
Pretty even matchup. I do very much like the Nami pick. I think Nami is a very underrated support, especially with some of the changes that have been made since her release. She's not nearly mana hungry, but there's a lot more options now that support mana hungry champions, especially mana hungry supports, that takes away one of her big weaknesses from early on.
Well, she is a little bit worse early game now that mana flow ban was changed.
I think you need to get that mana flow band ruined to get that active as soon as possible. Otherwise, Nami has huge mana issues. Lulu, not as many mana issues, so I think out for an Ignite in the bot lane.
Yeah, Nazir changed from Ignite to Barrier, as well Fizz changed from Barrier to Teleport. So we have the double Teleport plus the Shen Global. Looks like 555 is going to try to run the enemy team around the map and have the Lulu and the Skarner to rotate very quickly between the lanes. And GxK is looking for yet another 5v5 teamfight composition with the massive DPS of Azir Varus trying to tear through the enemy team with Azir, Nami, Sejuani, and Cho'Gath as the peeling champions. I like the Ignite out of Lulu. Varus has a lot of sustain. Nami has a heal. I feel like there's no way they could ever kill the enemies in lane with Exhaust. Plus, you want the fight to be shorter. And, well, Exhaust does stop some of the already stacked Rage Blade damage from Varus. Killing him stops it a little bit faster.
It's a fair response. I think, though, looking at the teams, 555 a bit better in the early, stack up as well late, just because Varus is I think Varus and Tristana very good late game, but Azir, when he has some items behind it, becomes a very powerful champion. Difficult to burst out once you get later in the game.
Yeah, it'll be really dependent on whether or not Fizz can assassinate the Varus during the fights, because just like the previous game, there's only the two damage dealers. They have two tanks and a healer. They have no extra damage. They don't have Skarner's DPS. They don't have Lulu's DPS coming in there. So they're relying pretty heavily on Varus and Azir. And if they can take out one of those two with the Fizz at the start of the fight, that'll be pretty difficult. As well with the Shen to follow up on the Fizz.
Right. I think, however, Fizz's job of assassination is made a bit that Varus and Nami both have pretty good built-in rid of CC. Fizz has to be very careful with how he uses Playful Trickster to be able to avoid that, otherwise he's just jumping right into CC and really not as much CC, but a lot of mobility that he brings in himself and from moving around the enemies. Fizz's assassinations that well this game.
Alright, well, we are now officially loading into game number 2 between Galaxy Knights and Team 555. Galaxy Knights won game 1, but we'll have to see if 555 can answer back here in game number 2.
Now have a frozen Shen.
Ooh, a little bit worse. The Shen is a little bit worse than the last Shen. He doesn't know how to use skins right, guys.
Light Varus. I am a fan.
and everybody went the standard rune on their champion. So nothing crazy coming in here. We'll see if there's another 5-man fight. Last game, Galaxy Knights 5-man invaded and ended up picking a kill onto Gimsleybeard. And it looks like they're trying to pull off the same thing here, but Tristana is going to scout it out and get the ward down. Ward's going to be picked up. So first CS going over to Varus. They're basically getting crushed in the game. 10 gold down.
Don't think that's as important as you
Horrible
said it is.
situation for Red Team. They basically just gave away the entire game by giving Sauce Captain the early lead.
Can't even buy a health pot.
And that's one thing we do need to watch out for,
They're
though.
also lose the gold from the Skarner Shrines.
Oh, fair. They are not capping top Skarner Shrine. But last game, Sauce Captain did get gifted First Blood by that invade, so we'll have to see if the laning phase goes the same way. That might have influenced why they got level 2 first. And that might have been the key factor determining who won that lane last game. So we'll see if Mutant and Gimsleybeard can do any better having their summoners available and with Sauce Captain not having that kill.
T gold now. Interesting decision by Nami to use a heal on the jungler. Mana hungry early on. I don't know if that's mana she can afford to spend.
Well, she got a mana coin already. That helps. Alright, so Shen going up in Cho'Gath's face. Looks to be trying to play just as aggressive as he was on Leclerc.
Shen a bit more going hyper aggressive with.
They hit level 2 first again on the side of GxK in the bottom lane. But this time 555 respected it and didn't have to waste any summoners to escape the death that they struggled with last game.
So far, no mana flow banned procs by Nami. Those pretty soon because that is a very important part of her arsenal.
Nice taunt coming in from Shen. With only his minions alive, it's going to take about a fourth-ish of Cho'Gath's health. He will probably be able to stand it back up. Fizz actually goes in onto Azir, gets dropped extremely low. Skarner's going to flash over the wall and try to get the stun down, but Azir is not having it. Azir's actually completely out of mana, but he's going to be able to flash over the wall and pop the barrier. Not quite picking up the kill on Fizz. Fizz is going to have to walk towards the wall, but Fizz's E comes back off cooldown, and the first blood is going to go over to Skarner. Oh, a nice bubble lands in the bottom lane, actually. Gets Lulu very low and forces the heal from Tristana and the flash out of the Lulu to be expended for no summoners from the blue side. So Sauce Captain and Sheer Cold really putting the hurt on Grimsley, just like last game.
Lose a bit of health there, but he does have the advantage. He has a Nami to heal him up. Have any built-in heals.
But both summoners down for Unagi is going to be a very punishable lane. The teleport is still up from the boosted moose, so he can get another later recall off. Or an
They're setting up a
expert
two-man
rotation.
gank.
Yeah, they're trying to punish the bottom lane because Infernal Dragon's almost up. The jump from Tristana is actually going to get the Varus pretty low, but the Ignite's not going to be enough, and both members are going to escape with 3 summoners burned for 1. So a very good gank coming in from the red team, but there's a little bit of pressure in the middle lane as Azir was freezing the wave. So Juani's actually going to go in onto the red team, but Fizz is still there. This is a 4v3 for the red team's favor. Fizz is chasing down the Varus, and Tristana and Varus, their whole team has decided to commit to killing Varus instead of trying to split up and go for 2 kills. A wise decision, and a kill picked up by Mutant's going to bring him ahead of Sauce Captain now.
I think Varus messed up there. He got split up from the team and got onto the wrong side. He needed to head back towards his turret with the rest of blue side when that started being behind.
I don't know why the camera keeps panning to top lane. Nothing's happening.
Nothing happens in top lane.
Neither of them have recalled yet, so both are extremely punishable to ganks. That's one thing that's happening.
Old. And that's the update on top lane. We might check back in 5 minutes when the next thing presumably happens there.
I mean, he engaged on him in a minion wave with like 6 minions, and he's fine.
See, this is why I like playing top lane. You just kind of do nothing for 15 minutes, and then you start team fighting. When you feel like playing League, but you don't really feel like playing League.
For sure. And Varus is a little bit alone because Nami is going to get vision down, so he's not able to safely walk up for the last hits. Which is why about a 10 CS lead is spawned for Mutant.
His kill gives him about a 500 gold lead. A 600 gold lead in the jungle for Skarner. Gold lead in mid lane.
The Chum the Waters is going to land on a level 4 Sejuani, and the Skarner is following it up as well. The Blast Gun is going to be taken, but the stun already came through from Skarner. The Smite is going to come down and give him a little bit of extra HP. And it looks like Sejuani actually is going to make it out just barely with the Flash, Smite, and the help from Azir. Shen and Chug out there actually both dropped very low in the top lane, but Azir not quite able to get onto either member of the red team up there. Lulu walking through the entire blue team. No idea what he's doing, but I guess he made it out. He seemed very unsure of what he was supposed to be doing in that moment. Lost half his health for pretty much no reason. It's going to make taking Dragon a lot harder.
Varus gifted over that red buff to try to cut down that deficit.
And early red buff. Second buff taken by the Varus, but just look at the difference between Skarner and Sejuani right now. It's a 600 gold lead due to the 2 kill participation and 11 CS lead. Sejuani can't really afford to be giving over that red buff. All fights, including
100
Skarner.
gold lead now for Skarner because he got a blue buff. It gifted hers away.
Yeah, and they have the same items, but except for Skarner has boots already before the recall, so it's going to be a lot of hurt coming out of the jungle. Although the same thing happened last time when he was on Warwick, and he wasn't able to capitalize very much with his gold lead, so we'll have to see if that's not something they care about too much. Is this the Gray that we used to play with from Jesse? You think that Gray JJ guy is?
Idea.
I think he is. Wait, wasn't he a Smurf? It's probably not the same guy then. Hopefully not. Or if it is the same guy, maybe he got demoted. I don't know.
Goth recalled. Shen did not.
Yeah, he doesn't like recalling. Shens just don't have to recall apparently. It's not something Shens do.
Shen is a very easy champion to just elf on. It's not that necessary to recall compared to some of the others. Does make you very vulnerable.
The bubble's actually gonna land and followed up by the root. Lulu's gonna be dropped extremely low. She's gonna flash out and survive just barely, but she's not able to deal a healthy amount of damage back onto the Varus, get him about to half HP. Fizz is gonna go and land the Chum in the water. He's gonna actually flash it onto Azir, and then the double flash is gonna pick up the kill. Skarner wasted ultimate on the wrong target, not knowing that Fizz was gonna flash over as well, I'm assuming, but the Shen ult coming down on the Skarner might just be enough to save him. It is with the Shen taunt following up. But no one on the red team looks to be wanting to help Shen go for any kills. All in all, just Sauce Captain dies. For 5 summoners to 4. So pretty even trade. Slight advantage for the red team. Update, TSM Batman did say it was not the same Gray, because he knows who the Gray we're talking about is.
Good. Well, then I'm glad we spent time on that diversion.
Well, I mean, we could just make fun of Jesse. It's RPL. I bet several people here know Zerobi. Anyone want to make fun of Zerobi in the chat? I encourage toxic behavior. I'm an AD carry man.
Is that what he goes by now? I thought that account got banned.
Yeah, but...
States in non-toxicity. Skarner's got about 1,000 gold lead in the jungle, about even in both top and mid, and a 600 gold lead for the AD carry. Altogether, 1,600 gold lead for red side. It's Infernal Drake, still not taken by either side, despite
Oh my
many
gosh,
fights.
a nice shuffle from Azir is going to bring him under the tower. Sejuani's going to miss the ultimate, but it doesn't matter because Azir had a nice enough play to pick up the kill on the Fizz. Looks like Shen got his recall off, finally. And is able
Last
to
game.
actually trade against the Cho'Gath now. Not very well, I guess.
Stepped into the brush and knows there's a pink ward in it, and the pink ward is just still sitting in that brush. Now Nami's walked in. There you go, team. There you go. It helps. Dragon. Good vision control by red side. If they want to go for this Dragon, they can, and doesn't really have enough vision down to know when to contest it.
Plus Azir's in mid. The Chum the Waters is going to land onto the Varus and it's going to be dropped extremely low, but with both carries getting caught in it, actually, they're going to be taken stupidly low. The Lulu ult is going to save the Fizz, and Varus is 0-3 now. Looks like without the safety of the Tahm Kench, Varus is a lot more vulnerable than the Kai'Sa was last game. So maybe a good call to ban away that Tahm.
Are going for that Dragon, but
So the Dragon will be picked up. Lulu's actually going to be dropped by the Sejuani, but Sejuani's likely to go down back. So Tristana actually jumps in, and the kill is not going to be quite picked up due to the zoning from Lulu and Azir, but a kill picked up by Sejuani for only her flash is pretty worth it.
currently that is going to also cut into the gold leads. It's now about a lead in mid lane for about a deficit, closing now on 600 deficit in the jungle. It's a bot lane where they've still got the problem.
Cho'Gath is actually getting onto Shen. He's very, very low. Cho'Gath has Feast up. Looks like Cho'Gath's going to get the solo kill on Shen. Shen just was not respecting Cho'Gath's cooldowns, just being lower than his.
And with Demolish, that tower's not going to stand long.
Skarner pops the Predator, actually goes up there. The Shark is going to land onto Azir, but the Shuffle is going to keep him safe for the time being. The Barrier proc as well, as soon as Fizz committed to the fight. And now Skarner's in a bit of an issue. With the Cho'Gath landing on yet another Rupture. Cho'Gath has landed almost every Rupture this game. Fantastic job from TDC Cake Boss. He was solid in the last game, and he's keeping his team into this game. They're actually at a 1,200 gold lead now, despite the rough early
Complete
start.
reversal there. So that 1,200 gold lead almost exclusively coming from Cho'Gath. He's alone responsible for a 1,200 gold lead, but they still do have a good gold lead on Azir.
The Varus ult is
About
going to land.
800
Actually,
gold on Fizz.
Sejuani is flanking. A nice flash from Tristana is going to keep him safe for the time being. Lulu's going to go down, but Fizz's teleport has arrived. Tristana ult is going to pick up the kill onto Sejuani, as well as Fizz picking up the kill onto Varus. Varus did reset his gold value right before he died on the Lulu, so a decent amount of gold still coming in for that counter kill. And a 2-for-1 overall from the red team. Cho'Gath's...
And again, just getting bullied by this Cho'Gath.
Yeah, luckily for him, this time Cho'Gath didn't expect that and feasted a minion. That flash doesn't help at all for the Nami. Actually, Fizz took an extra tower shot and almost died, but Skarner's going to be able to get onto the Azir. He's going to drop him very low. Gets the stun off before he jumps away, but Azir just trying desperately to get that first turret. It is not going to happen. Just barely saved by Skarner. Shen and Cho'Gath are getting in another brawl, but Shen just doesn't have the damage. Cho'Gath's feast wasn't even up. He didn't feast him and just solo killed him. Shen does not respect the Cho'Gath in the slightest and just repeatedly gets punished by it.
That's after losing his first turret to Cho'Gath. As a result, it's now a 2,400 gold lead in that top lane. Really helping out his team that's only ahead by 1,400 overall.
Yeah, an Outdoor Legend with 2-7 last game, 0-2 this game is having a rough showing in this series. He's just completely outclassed by TDC Cake Boss in the top lane, no matter which side of the matchup they're on. As or against Shen.
Right, it's been a...
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Shen would be better off just kind of using that ult, using his ult for more global pressure than trying to lane secure.
Skarner's going to get onto the Nami. Nami's actually dropped very, very low. Shen doesn't have, Skarner doesn't have anything left available, so the Nami ult is going to get him out. But if he wants to stay in the lane, he's going to have to burn almost all of his mana healing himself. Poor decision by the Nami to take that much damage, to trade that hard. Tristana's actually going to jump towards him and gets the bomb down. Throws the jack-o'-lantern on him, but isn't going to get anything else down. Skarner gets hit by the Varus ult, but the Cho'Gath Rupture doesn't quite land. And a Varus ult for a third of your HP is a trade you're very happy with if you're the Skarner, especially since he was able to pick up the honey fruit in the river.
We've just got no pressure now in that bot lane. That turret's definitely going to fall, and they're probably going to Dragon off it. There's still a minute before it spawns, but way more pressure now in bot lane for red side.
Yeah, you don't want to recall every 600 gold like Varus was just forced to. That's a waste of a lot of XP and CS time. However, he is still up in CS over the Tristana. Tristana focusing primarily on the fights. Still anybody's game at this point. Blue team was a little bit more on top of the ball. They have a ward in the Dragon Pit already placed before it spawned this time.
They do also have the lane advantage in top if they would like to try to make a play for Rift Herald soon. I'm doubting they have the resources to rush that, and I think it'd be a wrong call here, but that pressure in top lane that might help them with objectives.
So it'll be the Ocean Dragon as the next dragon that just now spawns. The Skarner Shrine being contested by Sejuani. Gonna be picked up, as well as the pink cleared away. Shen looks to be having to recall, and they can't afford to take the 4v5 right now. Nice juke from Tristana on both the Q and the W of Cho'Gath. It's actually going to keep her safe. The Skarner ult's going to come through onto the Cho'Gath of all things. The Shen ult's going to come down onto Tristana, but Tristana's not the one taking the damage. However, Cho'Gath is dropped, as well as Fizz solos out of 0 on the backside of the fight. Varus is able to pick up the kill onto Skarner, but Shen is on the hunt. He has taunt and flash available to him, but the bubble comes out just before it's available. Actually,
That is a missed flash by Sejuani there.
yes, Sejuani kind of wastes flash there. It's going to make it hard to go for the Dragon Steel. As well as just smited Raptors. That is
Down, which makes it harder for them to...
No, and the smite is now back up from Sejuani, so the bubble landing on Tristana might buy them enough time, but the teleport coming from Fizz is actually flanking onto the Varus. He decided against it as he knew Varus still had his flash available. They're just going to focus on the Tristana, but Cho'Gath is going to be able to flash it and pick up the kill onto the Fizz, as well as chase down the Lulu with the help of the Sejuani. Tristana popping off, gets 2 kills, doesn't quite have enough mana for Rocket Jump yet.
I was never worried.
is able to rocket jump over, but jumps into Azir instead of away towards his team. That was an odd decision as Skarner was almost there. Overall, a 3 for 3, and the Dragon is going to still be available for either team once they get back on the Rift.
I think overall that helps out the Sauce more than anything. He's now got some more gold. It's in gold deficit. Those assists are helpful.
Yes, he did have to burn his flash, however, which could pose a problem for him next fight if the Predator Skarner runs him.
But you do have to keep in mind, Cho'Gath now has a 700 damage feast champions, and he used it to Fizz. Cho'Gath is dangerous champion right now, just because Feast is bringing and how much health he's got. He's up to 8 Feast stacks, a bonus health there. He's got almost 3,500 total when his team in 2,000.
Red team is going to start up the Dragon once again. Fizz is in the top lane, but so is Varus, so they know nothing's going to happen there. Shen has teleport and ult available, but Red team seems a little bit hesitant to go for this fight without Fizz there. They know Varus is recalled.
That's the right call. I think Cho'Gath has enough damage right now that he would still be a huge threat, especially if he can land a Rupture. If he lands a Rupture, he can just immediately feast and kill any member of their team.
Fizz rotated down now, but seems like the wrong call for them to send Fizz top with no teleport instead of Shen. Actually, the jungler is going to flash in and ultimate onto the Azir. So one carry down from the blue side is going to make this fight a lot more one-sided from the red team. They're going to push in and try to either take a fight or get onto this Dragon. The Shark is going to land on Nami. A well-timed ult and followed up by a flash is going to keep her safe. The Varus ult is going to land, and Skarner is dropped very, very low. He's going to be taken down in the end. And Fizz is way too far on the front line. Tristana's now being engaged now, but her ultimate is very nice. Drops everybody very, very low. She can't quite pick up anybody, with the monstrous Cho'Gath still right in her face. Oh my goodness, she was 1 auto away from killing 3 people at different points in that fight. Very unlucky from that Tristana. I don't know if she was hoping for crits and didn't get them, or she just didn't feel comfortable going for those extra autos, but one more auto kills Varus, one more auto kills Lulu, one more auto kills Cho'Gath, and that fight's a 4 for 1 in your favor, 4 for 2 in your favor instead of 4 for 1 that you lost. So
She was in a bit of danger there. If Cho'Gath ever landed a Rupture, she would have died to a feast almost immediately.
so close.
Careful on Tristana.
Red team's turret has been
Yeah,
destroyed.
it was a contested fight, but ultimately, this is where the top lane is actually decisive. Cho'Gath's got such a huge presence. He's able to provide a lot of damage that their team otherwise wouldn't have.
Yeah, and being able to zone off Tristana for 25 seconds in that last fight means that Tristana's not hitting the Varus or the Nami, and that's the reason they were able to live that fight and heal back up.
Right, as it stands, there is now a gold lead for every member of blue side. Coming in that top lane, a 2,400 gold lead there. 50 gold lead in bot lane, not huge, but is a big turnaround from early. Azir at 1,000 gold lead, and Sejuani now at a 600 gold lead.
Interestingly, it's AP Varus. It's not even on-hit Varus. He's going... Well, it is on-hit Varus, but it's on-hit, mostly AP Varus. He didn't go the Wit's End or anything. So, Tristana was ulted again by Shen. I don't think Shen's even watching the fights. He's just using his ultimate for whenever it's available. Tristana's not aggressive enough. He just doesn't take the kills. He had that kill on Azir if he chose to take it, but instead, he just ran away from the get-go. And with the AD carry not hitting people for majority of that fight, blue team just runs away with it. Shen keeps ulting Tristana as Tristana's the primary carry, but Tristana's not taking damage when Shen's ulting him at all, and not in the right spot that Shen wants to be in the fight. You might need to adapt that if they want to stand a chance in this game. That being said, blue team's pushing over the inhibitor, and there's not a whole lot red team can do about it. The Fizz ult isn't up for another 20-30 seconds. The Varus ult is dodged away from by Tristana, so that was a great job on her part. And Fizz is able to pick up the kill onto the Lulu, or Nami, but then wastes its flash and goes down anyways, gifting him another kill to the Varus. Something you probably don't want to be doing at this moment.
A big Cho'Gath there ended up being very important. He was alone, not even fighting back, just getting CC'd
Red
the enemy team for a good 5 seconds.
Blue team has gotten the Baron down to 3,000 health before red team shows up to check it. Actually, a smite at 1,500 out of Skarner is not what you want to see. Skarner doesn't even pop his ultimate, and Azir's going to take down Tristana and Skarner right away, followed up by Cho'Gath taking down Shen, and the triple kill coming for Azir under the Lulu. They fought a 4v4 and didn't use most of their skills. Tristana didn't ult, Skarner didn't ult, and Fizz respawned and teleported bot lane. And if Fizz is in bot lane, this game is over. Sejuani can stop Fizz's recall. I think this game might be over with Varus and Azir pushing into the base with Baron. Several members of Red Team are up in a couple seconds, but I don't think those three can stop them. If Sejuani can stop Fizz's recall, which I'm assuming he's going to go do right now, this could be the game. That's both Nexus hits going down already. The Varus ult's going to be landing. The Lulu and Tristana are going to be dropped. All 3 kills coming in for the blue team, and the game actually ends off the back of that botched Baron fight. Game 2 going over to GxK. A fantastic job by the blue team. We're going to go 2-0 in the series over 5-5-5. A couple of close games, a couple of minor mistakes coming out from 5-5-5, which ultimately led to their downfall, but hard fought early and mid games, and Sauce Captain was able to get back into that game. He went from 1-4 to 10-5, so props to him to be able to turn that game around.
Very good move there. I think top lane also was a very good display by TDC. He managed to just lead there into an absolutely crushing advantage, and the fact that he could threaten the opposing team with his ultimate and could take out any of them if he caught them, huge zoning advantage that negated Tristana for most of the fights.
Huh? Overall, fantastic job, fantastic series. If you had to vote for a player of the game, who would you vote for? Or player of the series, I mean. Who would you vote for?
Only be voting for Sauce. I think while his second game was a bit disappointing early, he turned it around really well, and that first game, Kaisa, was just phenomenal.
Alright, well there you have it, folks. Good game, everybody, and I hope to see you back here next week on RSCGG. Goodbye.